No, the original kelim. We're talking the original kelims, not the original kelims.
That was the first.
He didn't have the menorah, and he didn't have.
No, that's already by Shani.
No, Hashverosh was Rishon. Hashverosh was Rishon. And by the way, since we're on Purim, we should go over the timeline. You did right or no? Go on and see if it's working.
It's all good.
5,000 people watching right now.
What do you want? It gets recorded. By the way, you'd be surprised. Mordechai will attest that people watch this later. Yeah. By the way, live. I don't think anyone really watches it live. I think it's great. No one watches it live. The shorts are cool. That's what you let's see. Monday 10 o'clock. Monday 10 o'clock. Yeah.
I didn't get what you're saying. So
Okay,
it says
let's
Kelim,
focus.
Kelim Shanim, right? So they had a mishteh with the Kelim with
Kelim Rishon.
Rishon,
Okay,
yeah.
but they didn't have. But the main kelim, the aron was hidden. They don't have the aron.
Aaron is not a Kelim.
That's true. But the kelim were hidden. It says kelim b'kedushaten. I don't know if you look at Menachot, it'll tell you. If you want to look it up, hold on. I have it over there. If you want to check, I have it right there. You can look. We'll look at it after. What? Because it says what he hid. It said what he hid.
Oh,
Okay. So those are still standing, but the bayit was destroyed. Why was the Beit HaMikdash destroyed? The Beit HaMikdash to save Bnei Israel. Right? והבית נחרב בשביל להציל את ישראל, שצדקה עשה עמנו ששפך חמתו על הציב על אבנים. Right? Instead of destroying Bnei Israel, because we did bad, he took out his anger on sticks and stones. That's what Midrash says to explain that. Yeah, the Beit HaMikdash it was horrible that it was destroyed. But if not for that, he would have came after us. He's got to take his anger out on something. That's why the Rambam holds, and this is halakha, I believe, that if a person breaks a plate on Shabbat out of anger, you're hayav al metaken. You're metaken. Why metaken?
Because you're taking care of your anger.
You took care of your anger.
Right.
You took care of your anger.
Yes, that's right.
And you're not, what's it called? Do you understand? Because if I punch you, you exited it. You relieved it.
Yeah.
You're released. Crazy.
So punch a wall.
If you break the wall,
Same thing, no?
same thing. If you break it, same thing. It depends on the wall. Not a firewall. I mean, okay. So let's see what it says. So, and by the way, what does else this say? Another read says Menachot. It says Ma'alin Bakodesh. If we're going to say that the kelim have more kedusha than the Beit HaMikdash or the Mishkan, because proof is in the pudding, one survived longer than the other, then Ma'alin Bakodesh. And if we're Ma'alin Bakodesh, you should make the Mishkan first. Remember, what did Hashem say? Hashem said, make the Mishkan first. Hashem tells Moshe, make the Mishkan. Moshe tells over to Betzalel, make the kelim first. Why swap it out? And Betzalel says, why would you do that? Should we make the Mishkan first? Because we need a bayit. That's the minhag haolam. That's the normal way. So if we know that if we're going to say that the kelim have more kedusha than the Mishkan itself, right? Then what do we ma'alin ba kodesh ve'en moridin, which means you go up in kodesh. You don't go down. So what do? You make the thing that's the least kadosh first, and then you go to the next. And the last one is going to be the most kadosh, which would be the kelim. Because you're making the Mishkan according to God. Mishkan, Aron, Kelim. Vessels. So you have Mishkan, you have the Aron, you have the vessels. Okay, those are the three things. And so that's one way to look at it. There's another way to look at it. So right now we found a way to say that the Kelim are more valuable or more kadosh than the, what's it called?
Oh!
10-second rule. 10-second rule. Pick it up. 15-second rule. No, it's a 25-second rule. It just became a 35-second rule. It's kapara.
Just say Gamzu.
Gamzu tova, that it wasn't someone's head.
Exactly.
So, however, we have another way we can look at it. That the Kedusha, the Mishkan, and the Mikdash. So, by the way, I'm giving you guys something crazy here. To say that the Kelim are more valuable than the Mishkan itself is crazy. You don't find that crazy?
Because the Kedusha still exists in the location. Even now there's Makom Kadosh.
Yeah, but to say that the Kelim, but one is more, what's it called than the other, is crazy. To say that the Kelim are more Kadosh than the Mishkan is something heavy to say.
There's a halacha, I think in Megillat Esther, or the Gemara in Megillat Esther, where it speaks about the Knesset. Who's not the Knesset? Israel
Megillah.
and in Bavel. The Knesset in Bavel has you build the Knesset on Tanai. The Tanai is that you're allowed
Rebuild
to,
it once we
No. The Tanai is you're allowed to do anything. You're allowed to do things other than, in addition to davening and learning in the Beit Knesset. You're not allowed to eat. You're allowed all that stuff. If you build the Knesset, you build the Beit Knesset on Tanai, you're allowed to do kiddush, you're allowed to do all different other things, and you have Shekalim. In
Interesting.
Israel, you're not allowed to move the Beit Knesset, whereas in Chutz La'aretz, you're allowed to.
You have to build it first, and then you have to build the bit.
The reason I'm saying this is because
Not in the
the
front.
ground where the Beit Knesset was is still kadosh.
Bring that up.
Because the ground in Eretz Yisrael, the kedusha, still there, even though it's destroyed
Right.
or been
Destroyed.
whatever. So the kedusha is still there.
Now, and so.
Which basically means that since it's there, so it would have a higher value.
Right. It might be right. So there's a room to say that the Mishkan has the higher value more than the Kelim itself. So then we're going to say that now.
Go to Shiloh, it's still there.
The Mishkan is not there in Shiloh.
Makom is there, the remnant is there.
Did they say there is no? No, they said there is none. I think they said there is no Kiddusha in Shiloh now.
Oh,
No, we're going to say that now. Hello. Yosef, we're going to say that now. There's no Kiddusha in Shiloh now. Because the Shekhinah did not reside until the Beit HaMikdash, right, until the Beit HaMikdash was built. By the way, look what it says. You could say that the Mishkan and the Mikdash have a higher Kiddusha. Why? Because we had the Mishkan. Where was the Mishkan? In Nov, Giv'on, and in Shiloh. Right? Shiloh was the longest, 369. Shiloh, Sharata, Shama, Shekhinah. The Shekhinah did not reside there, right, until the Beit HaMikdash was actually built. Then the Shekhinah came down. When Shlomo HaMelech built the Beit HaMikdash, that's when it came down.
So no Shekhinah in the Mishkan? What's the word?
Not in Shiloh. No, not like that.
What's no Shekhinah? They couldn't do Kabbanot if there was no Shekhinah.
You could have, no, that's not true, Mordechai. You could have a bima while the Mishkan in Shiloh was up.
Obama.
Bama, yeah. Bima is what we're saying.
Obama. Yes, you can have a bima. Or Obama
When the Mishkan was erected, you can. When the Beit HaMikdash was built, you cannot. That was taken away. Yeah.
Just spray it away from the food. Move the food away.
How's it?
Listen, it's right there. I see it.
There's a backup chillin', I'm gonna go put it in the oven now.
That's true.
I really get
We
it.
have a backup chillin'. Wow, look how Hashem works. We have a backup
Where
chillin'.
the waiter is doing it on the restaurant.
Well, are we using that? Are we going to use the chillin'?
Are you joking?
I said maybe the top layer. I don't know.
Paul Chaim David.
I didn't see anything here.
That's where you got it. That's where you got the first one from.
I just watch the
Behind
waiters
David's,
at
you
the
made it?
restaurants here. They just spray right on the food.
Oh, yeah. All right, so let's see. So, okay. Sada Ched, you could say what? That the Kedusha of the Mishkan is bigger, right? Because we know that the Beit HaMikdash wasn't what? Yeah, that was good from him. Therefore, you might think that you might have to make the kelim first because the Beit HaMikdash, the Mishkan, has more Kedusha. Right? So maybe it's the house that has more Kedusha over than the kelim. So you can look at it both ways. One way you could say that the Mishkan is greater, and one way it's higher in Kedusha. And the other way you could say the other one's higher in Kedusha. The kelim are higher in Kedusha. Okay? Now the question is, how did Moshe Rabbeinu actually see it? How did he look at it? So we have a Gemara in Sotah. Tet Amud Aleph. It says Moshe and David. Anything they built would the Sonei Yisrael would not have a chance to destroy it forever. Okay? Let's read inside. שמשה ודוד לא שרתו שונאיהם במעשה ידיהם. כמו שכתבו המקובלים, the Megaleh Amakot brings, that if Moshe Rabbeinu came into Eretz Yisrael and he built the Beit HaMikdash, the Oivim would never be able to take it, would never be able to destroy it. Right? And by the way, but that's a problem. Because if we're gonna get, can you open the door a little bit? Wow, it's very, very, wow. I'm getting a little dizzy there. What's in that stuff? Open the door, please. Okay, just leave it open, it's fine. Yeah, Torah doesn't smell like bleach. So right, that's true too. Oh, very nice. So if the Beit HaMikdash was built by Moshe Rabbeinu, Mr. Bloomberg, then then the enemies would never be able to destroy it.
That would be a negative.
That's a problem.
Because then Hashem would have no way of
No export. They got to go after us.
We learned that here.
I'm going to say it probably, yeah. Okay, Mipnei she'haya yodea, we knew that Moshe was going to end up dying in the Midbar, and we knew that because of our sins, the Beit HaMikdash was going to get destroyed, and also Mipnei she'ma'alin ba'kodesh, Sarich lasot mitihila mishkan. It makes sense to make the mishkan first, because the mishkan is not going to survive. Why? Because Moshe Rabbeinu is not going to build it. Why can't he build it? Because if he does build it, the enemies can't destroy it. Won't be able to destroy it. If they can't destroy it, then we got to pay the piper. Then Hashem's going to come after us. But if he did, the original plan A was he was coming. Plan A was that he was coming to Israel. That was the plan all along. Yeah.
I have a question which I don't think is connected exactly, but the Hava Amina of saying that the Mishkan is more
Kadosh.
than the Kelim, to me seems odd if you look at the Aron, which has the Luchot HaBrit. In a sense of like, what else could be more Kadosh than that?
So I'll tell you something crazy. If you look at the halachot, what is an Aron? Aron is tachshite mitzvah. Or tachshite kedusha.
Like Tashmish Kusha.
Tashmish or fine, called tashmish, right? No, it's called machshirin
Right.
in the Gemara.
It's like tzitzit.
Yeah, right. So the Aron, what are you allowed to do with that? That Aron that's been housing the Sefer Torah? What can you and what can't you do with it?
Okay, so you're comparing the Aron.
So the Rambam actually lists the order, what you're allowed and what you're not allowed to do with each item.
Right, Megillah says that.
We went once a year.
Megillah, what?
We went to once a year. Didn't do anything with it.
It doesn't matter. How? You might assume because it housed. Anyone that touched it died. Anyone that touched it died.
You know that in the Sefer.
Shemuel Aleph.
Small bet.
Small bet.
Small bet.
The
Bet.
Aron was going down. It was about to.
Small
I
bet.
started with my son, that's why.
It was about to topple, right? And they were
Right,
holding it.
right. That's where they're moving it from and then they ended up going to Shiloh instead.
Right.
Right. It's crazy. So the question is, so again, if Moshe Rabbeinu builds it, it can't get destroyed. If it can't get destroyed, Sasha, then we're in trouble because if we have sins, then we can't pay for it. Then Hashem's coming after us. No collateral. If God forbid something goes wrong, you take the collateral. God forbid. Okay, but they don't come after you. It's not the mob. You know what I mean? So therefore, we're saying so that's why the Mishkan had to be made first, because we know Ma'alim B'Kodesh, and the Kelim are going to end up outlasting the Mishkan itself, which means at the end of the day, it's going to have more Kiddusha, because it's going to last longer.
So that explains why Hashem said Mishkan first.
So now, but Moshe Rabbeinu
Switched.
was hoping to get in. Hail Mary, I'm gonna give it a shot. We'll figure it out. Don't worry, we'll make it work. We're trying.
It's not the first time that the Zera Shimshon keeps on repeating this whole idea that Moshe Rabbeinu has like multiple ways to try to get that.
We do, but he did.
I'm saying like he keeps on trying in different ways. Like in the last 6 Parshiyot, he always mentions some sort of way that Moshe Rabbeinu tries to get into Eretz Yisrael or fails. Or
It's crazy.
You know?
It's crazy. So Moshe, היה מצפה להכניס לארץ ישראל. והיה יודע שלא ישלטו האויבים במעשה ידיו, right? And he knew that once he goes in, that nothing's going to happen. Because if he's able to build the Beit HaMikdash, then he'll be, then we're good. The Beit HaMikdash will stay. We'll constantly be giving the Korban HaTamid, and we're okay. Korban HaTamid, right? But
That's what we said, that we were concerned that if the that was the.
If they come after us, if we have to pay for it, Hashem is going to go after the Beit HaMikdash. If Moshe Rabbeinu builds the Beit HaMikdash, then we got nothing to hold on to.
Right, but now you just said that we could do the korbanot, and maybe that would.
That's what Moshe is saying. That's what Moshe is saying. So that's why Moshe said, make the kelim first, and then the Aron, and then the Mishkan. And Betzalel did not want to explain, because Betzalel knew. Betzalel knew what was really going on. Ubetzalel lo ratza lehashiv al ze beferush. He didn't want to tell him outright that we can't build it because he ain't going in, and it ain't going to work.
That's why I used the minhag.
Ho'il she'adavar talui b'mitato shel Moshe. It's contingent on Moshe's death. Ela heshilo minhag haolam. No, it's the normal way of the world. Normal way of the world that you get the house and then you worry about the kid. Then you worry about the kelim. But really, he knew that the kelim are going to outlast the Mishkan. Why is he going to outlast the Mishkan? Because Moshe is not going to go in, which means he can't build the Beit HaMikdash. What? Yeah, by the Pilishtim. Mashemam. Yeah. They destroyed the Mishkan.
It wasn't replaced by the Beit?
No. Yeah, they destroyed the Mishkan. The Pilishtim destroyed the Mishkan.
The same.
Yeah. I believe they are. Who knows?
But no,
Who cares?
the-
No, I always compare them.
Different race.
I always compare them to the Palestinians because they just cause trouble.
They're the worst evil that
They're
ever
different
existed
race.
in humanity.
Who?
These Palestinians. The worst evil.
Why they have feelings?
What feeling? What feeling? The worst
Yeah, we'll make that one a short. Okay. So what does B'Tzalel answer? Shema kach amar lecha kadosh baruch Hu. Maybe Hashem really meant this. Maybe when he tells him make the kelim first, then the aro, and then the mishkan. Maybe Hashem really meant that you should make it the other way. You know, that's what B'Tzalel answers. Kilomad, to explain, Minan lach hashem mishkan hayoter hamud. How do you know, what makes you think that the mishkan is more hamud than the kelim? Maybe the kelim are more kadosh than the mishkan. You understand? Meaning, if he knew that, because if you don't say this about B'Tzalel, you have a real problem. Moshe says one thing, B'Tzalel says another thing. B'Tzalel, because he's B'Tzalel, knows what Hashem really wanted. But you must say this whole dialogue is really going on, because if you don't, then what gives B'Tzalel the right to question Moshe Rabbeinu? Moshe Rabbeinu says ABC, that means do ABC. Doesn't mean start doing CBA. Who told you nothing? Do what you're supposed to do. It's kash, right? Ma kushya hizo. What could he say? The minhag ha'olamu is the opposite. Maybe it's gezerat makom. Maybe Hashem commanded. Where else do we see kilayim? Bigdei kohanim is all kilayim. But you're gonna say no. Maybe are you sure he meant kilayim? Maybe he meant wool and kine. How do you know it's? Because the kelim were made, or the begadim and the kohanim were made from kilayim. So, right. So, apa pi shekilayim asud ela vadai for sure. B'Tzalel did with chokhmah lehastir hadavar bifnei Moshe. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Kedesh shelo yargish, so he won't feel bad.
Like he was so.
He was so sensitive to just say, no, God, I know God said this. He didn't say that. He said, Minhaga, what do you learn from here, by the way? You learn how to give tochacha, that's not tochacha. You learn how to be sensitive. Even though you know something, you're supposed to do it differently. Just because, I'll tell you, there's a story about, I forgot which one. One of the buhatzeras, what? You can't keep having private stuff on the side, and then when I actually ask, I don't get an answer.
He said what I missed. I said you'll catch it on YouTube. That's fine.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, let's go. I want to keep going. So even though you understand, so if you don't say that B'Tzalel knew what was going on, then you have a real problem, because who is B'Tzalel to question Moshe? Who's talking in the name of God? You understand? It doesn't make any sense. So you have to say that B'Tzalel knew, and the reason why he did what he did was because he didn't want to hurt Moshe Rabbeinu's feelings, to tell him that you're not going to end up going into Israel. Okay, now that's one way. Now there's another answer, a very interesting way. There's another way you could look at what he answered, min hagosh shel olam, right? The way of the world. There's another way to look at it, which means what? The way of the world is that there's going to be sinners. The way of the world, people are going to sin, okay? And if Bnei Yisrael sin and the Mishkan is still up, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has to divert his anger somewhere. And if you build it, and it's going to have more Kedusha than the Kelim, and the Kelim also destined supposed to last long, and they're not going to, or the Mishkan's got to wait till the Mishkan goes, and the Mishkan's going to stay, then Hashem has no option but to go after Bnei Yisrael. And that's not good. You understand? So it says, "V'Hakadosh Baruch Hu yeh sarich lishpoch hamato Yisrael, ve'haolam yeh tov vavo," and the world will go back to tov vavo, because if there's no Jews, there's no world. What's the point? So from this derasha, what do we see? We see it's not tochacha. It's not tochacha. It's what?
Nachlok.
Nachlok al tamid chacham. Right.
Maybe I'm not tochacha. Maybe
I actually had to do that once. I had to say something to one of my rabbis, and I didn't know how to say it. So I asked him the question, like, what do you do if someone is A, B, and C? So he says, you have to maneuver in. The real halachically, the way you're supposed to tell your rabbi something is you're supposed to say, Rabbi, didn't you teach this way? Right, right. Lo kach, right. You didn't teach it to us this way? Meaning you have to, it's a sign of respect. Betzalel over here had respect. Why he could, when he hears that Moshe Rabbeinu was saying, build the kelim first, then make the Mishkan. Hashem told him the exact opposite, Mishkan then the kelim. But he didn't want to hurt Moshe Rabbeinu's feelings, even though he knew that Hashem said make the Mishkan first. Why? Because Moshe Rabbeinu was hoping to make the kelim first, in order to show that the Mishkan has higher sanctity than the kelim, which it would stay, right? If it would stay, then I'd get to go in and everything's gonna be fine. But Betzalel knew that the kelim are gonna withstand at the end, but the bayit is not. And we know that we need the bayit not to stay, as crazy as that sounds. You hear that?
We'd rather
We'd
have the bite destroyed than the killing and destroyed.
Than us.
Than us.
Than us. To be right. That's why Hashem had to put his anger on Atzim v'Avanim. Okay. So that's the derasha. All right. So now let's go. No, it's one. I was three. Tet. All right. You want to do tet? Tet's a go. Let's do tet. I go to tet. But I think you're supposed to stop that and start it again. Is that a problem? You're not touching it. Okay.
It's one, no cuts.
Fair enough. All right. We have a midrash. Look inside. No, tet. Going right into the next one. We have midrash that says Vayasu kol acham lev. Hadahu dichtiv ma'im rabim. All right. So the midrash compares what it talks about. Don't forget this parasha is all about the Mishkan. What to bring? It starts out with Shabbat Vayakhel, and then it goes. The whole thing is all about the kelim of the Mishkan. So who are the ones that made the kelim? Betzalel and Aholiav. Betzalel and Aholiav. Well, who was from which one and who was from which one? Right. Very good. Very good. The lowest of the Shevatim.
Because he wasn't born from one of the wives.
Was born from Zilpah, and Betzalel was from Yehuda. Very good. So you have one of the high ones and one of the low ones. Why? For two things. To show that all. Right. She's the best. To show that all the what's it called are on the same level, and also to keep Betzalel, make Aholiab feel better, and to make Betzalel not so high, because Betzalel can't say, "Oh, beauty," because you also got someone from the lowest Shiva team. That's what Midrash or the Gemara says. So the Midrash says, "Vayasu kol acham lev." It says, "Ma'im rabim lo yuchlu lechavot et ahava." Right? Shir Hashirim says, "Ma'im rabim." What does Ma'im rabim mean? Great waters. Very simply said. Lo yechlu lechavot et ahava. Cannot extinguish the love between us and God. Ma'im rabim. Who is the Ma'im rabim? This is the goyim. Right? The nations. How do we know? Because we have a Gezat Shavan. Yeshaya kahamot yamim yehemayun. Right? Like the seas are the nations. If the goyim want to come together and try to fight, and lebatel, what lebatel means to nullify the love between God and Bnei Israel, enam yechulim, extinguish. They cannot. Dichtiv ma'im rabim lo yichlu lechavot et ahava, because what Shmuel Melech wrote Shir Hashim. Even if they tried, it ain't gonna happen. Right? And now the Midrash continues and brings a pasuk in Malachi, who says, Ve'ohav et Yaakov, unharot lo yishtefua. Right? The pasuk, Ve'ohav et Yaakov, the loved ones of Yaakov, and the Midrash connects that with what? Then the Neharot cannot wash us away. Of the pasuk, right? Very good. It's Shir Hashim. Who's that? The Midrash says, Elu ha-malchuyot. These are the kings. Kingdoms? Malchuyot, kingdoms. Fine, kingdoms. I have no idea. He went upstairs. I don't know why he did that. Okay, I'm gonna pay for that later. I'm just letting you all know. I'm gonna get reamed. Okay.
There is a challenge. Tell him to go get it.
I don't think he's going for the challenge. So I'm just saying. As I said, I'm gonna get unless by any miracle Stephanie's watching or listening. Okay, it doesn't matter. She listens. All right. The pasuk says et me'anahar. So, but huh? Oh, his daughter's up there. Oh, it's faking. That's fine. Okay, so they're the malachim. Listen, back here, back to reality. So again, we have the midrash that says vayasu kol acham lev. Vibrating. It says vayasu kol acham lev. Right? He brings the pasuk ma'im rabim lo yichlu lechavot et ahava unharot lo yishtafua. So it breaks it down. It says who's who. It says all Ma'im Rabim are the Goyim. The Goyim, if all the nations try to come together and extinguish the love between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, they won't be able to. Right? And the continuation of the Pasuk, Unharo lo yishtefuha, is talking about the kingdoms. That the kingdoms themselves will not be able to wash us away. Like who? Like Melech Ashur, like all these other kings that tried to remove us and tried to kill us. Now, there's a very good question, is how would you think, for a second, the word in the Midrash is very strange. Why would it say that the nations would be able to extinguish the love? The love is not physical. It's not tangible. It's a feeling. You can't say levatel ahava. It doesn't make sense. You want to destroy us physically. Okay, talk about le'abed at b'nei. So that's something. They do that well. They go after us well. But
you can't break our spirit.
you can't. Yeah, but why would they be right? So why would they not say that you're gonna ruin the love? Don't talk about love. Talk about gufani. Talk about who we are. Right? ובשלמה אם היה אומר, אם מתכנסים כל המות לאבד את ישראל חס ושלום, ניחא שפיר. It makes sense. שזהו דבר שהיה יכולת בידם. That's something that they could try to do. Which they do. בכל דור ודור עומדים עלינו לכלותנו. That's nothing new. We know they have the chance, but why is the Midrash going? Right? The wording of the Midrash is strange. Right? אם לא מחמת הקדוש ברוך הוא לא שבק ולא ישבוק. Right? If it wasn't for הקדוש ברוך הוא, who didn't allow and won't allow, we'd never be here. Let's make that very clear. Nothing about your life is normal. Nothing about your life, nothing about Israel, nothing about the Jews scattered among the nations is something normal. When they asked the guy, the guy who was going to do they didn't end up. There was when the Dead Sea Scrolls were found. They wanted to. They had one guy they wanted to. What's the word? They wanted to examine them to see if they're legit. And the guy was an atheist, a drunk, and possibly a gambler. I don't know. And this guy was at Harvard. Okay, Harvard. It's so amazing how we think Harvard is good. It's but why? Just of course it is. But it's been like that way forever. What makes you think the Goyims? Can I tell you something crazy?
Yeah, just us.
Shut off the YouTube for a second.
So I you want to help me out there? So the one in the back, better, one in the back. So
On the back.
there was one, yeah, no, yeah. So I went Monday night. So there's a program that I'm working on, okay, where you like this one, where there's a camera that measures a person's aura. Go that way. A camera that measures a person's aura. Okay, what does that mean? Aura. You have stuff around you that you look. Yeah, I got Wi-Fi. You don't see that. You have something that's legit. Now, Rav Zamir Kohen wrote about it. Rav Zamir Kohen wrote The Coming Revolution in English. Okay, it's a book. It's amazing. All science and Torah. How we knew everything before science did. How many sheets are from the sun. How many the stars in our solar system. We know everything. The Torah knows everything. We know the world was round. In the Zohar it says Galgal, I think. We know. So he writes all these proofs and brings all these different things. One of the things is a concept that's called Or Makif. Or Makif is a person's outer light. Or. You have Or Makif, Or Penimi. So there's a camera that measures such a light. So I knew about this for 10, 15 years. I always wanted to see it. Okay. So I saw it Monday night. This Monday night just passed. I tracked down the scientist. His name's Reuven something. Okay? Elad. An hour away. And he sat with us and he showed it to us. And he tells me that he went and he tested. You could test what your light is with tefillin on versus not tefillin on. And then he did with kasher tefillin and then with pasul tefillin. So you can't say color black, leather. You mark one letter off and you put the scroll inside, it's pasul. And they measured it and it's completely off. He told me that he... $5,000. I'm taking donations because I'm trying to buy it. So careful what you wish for because I need help. So he tells me...
We have the idea that tefillin doesn't have to be, like, it has like a chazaka of being kasher.
No, that's why you don't have to check it.
You don't have to check it.
You have to check it.
He's saying he purposely put something in puzzle just to know, just to show you that it's not just like a stammer thing. He's saying he
There's
purposely.
a thing, right? If you wear it.
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah, no, I don't know. You don't check your tefillin once every 3 years. You check your mezuzot once in 3.5 years.
But
Tefillin
either way, you don't have to, as long as
twice
you
in
wear
7
it,
years, so 3.5 every 3.5.
But tefillin you don't have to check, right? It has a cause like that.
So the tefillin, if you have a hazayah, you don't check them because it's not good. You open them, the air and moisture. So now, so he tells me that he got 1,200 atheists, not Hilonim, atheists, to put on tefillin and do this experiment. 1,200. So I tell him, where'd you find 1,200 atheists? So he looks at me with a smile. He goes, university. Emet. I saw it myself with Netilat Yadayim, Zev. Monday night, I went with Asapa, led my friend. We went together, and it's through the whole thing. He gave us 45 minutes, and in 13 of those 45 minutes, he was on the phone, and he had to leave on the dot. He was very busy. Now we measured the thing. You put your hand on it, it's the camera, the whole thing, and then he tells him, "All right, go do Netilat Yadayim, go wash." So go wash. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. Comes back, all the numbers improved. Wherever he was holding, because it separates your body, mind, soul. I don't know. So the problem is I have to learn this. Because I wanted to buy it. I need to know where to buy it, which he approved it. But he's not going to show, you can buy it, $5,000. Okay? I'm taking donations because I'm going to try to buy it. I want to go to high schools. And I want to show kids the importance of tefillin, and importance of netilat yadayim, and importance of tzitzit. Why? Why they'll give me the money? You understand? I want this. Why? Because I want to be able to show everybody that there's something that just because you don't understand it doesn't mean it's true. There was one, so he told me it works 9 out of 10.
Because you don't see it with your naked eye.
With the tzitzit, with the tefillin, it says it works 9 out of 10. He goes, what's the reason? So he goes, there's a reason, but you have to figure it out. I go, what do you mean? He goes, one time, they brought me 10 guys, and one guy didn't show a difference. And they asked, why isn't it working? So he goes, I don't know. So I go, come back tomorrow, go change your clothes and come back. Turned out the guy had some geshtufel on him or whatever. And it says in Shulchan Aruch, if you have so'ah on you, the tefillah don't go nowhere. The tefillah doesn't go anywhere. He had some stuff on him. It was dirty. It was dirty. It was soiled. So that's why it didn't work. Another time, one rabbi sent 4 avrechim to him to test it out. Okay? And 2 of them it worked, and 2 of them it didn't. He said, go to the mikveh and want to see what the effects of the mikveh. So he goes, so 2 of them showed that the numbers improved, and 2 of them didn't. And they kept pressuring him. Why didn't it work? Because I'm sorry, numbers didn't work. I couldn't tell you. So they start clapping. 4 guys start clapping. I said, why? He goes, because those 2 didn't go to the mikveh. They tried to sketch, they tried to fake out. It was Monday night. I was there, Monday night. So I'm working on a whole package. I want to try to, but I have to buy the thing. I got to work it. I got to learn it. Experiments, Yoni. I need some guys.
Cold plunge.
What's cold plunge?
Why is it important to know?
What? Oh God, no.
Why do you want to know?
Because I want to take this. Yeah, I want to take this to high schools, and I want to show the teenage boys the value of tefillin. More than you know. What you think you know, you don't know. You think it's just the traditional thing that we do. You have no idea what value there is. It helps your body. It helps your mind. It helps clear the numbers. It's amazing, by the way. It's a whole thing. It's not so hard, but you got to spend time. But I plan on it.
What does the device look like?
It's a black box, connects with a USB into the computer, software on the computer, and this thing has metal balls, like half domes, and you put your hand, the whole hand, and you just put it there, and it measures, and it comes up on the computer.
It's not a camera. Didn't you say camera?
I did say camera. Because there's a camera. I don't know. There's a camera involved also. There's a camera because you could look at it from here or you could look at it on the camera.
It senses you through your palm, like you put your palm on it.
It senses through camera also. Yes, you put the palm and both. So anyway, let's continue. So we know all Hachmei Lev, they're the ones that made the Mishkan. So Mayim Rabim lo yichlu l'chabot, right? Oh, no way. Mayim Rabim lo yichlu l'chabot et hava. Who is that? You just missed, by the way? You just missed something heavy. You should have came 5 minutes earlier. Right? Boys, am I wrong? Come on.
YouTube.
YouTube, right?
He's got the glow. He's got the glow on him.
Right, we'll check him out
Is
later.
that what you saw? This stuff?
Similar. So, no, not that. I'll show it to you later. I'll show it to you after. So, Mayim Rabim, we have a pasuk in Shir Hashirim. Mayim Rabim lo yichlu lechavot et hava. That all the great waters cannot extinguish the love between us and God. Right? And then we say that the kingdoms won't be able to wash it away. Okay, Sarich Iyun, why would you think that the nations would be able to extinguish the love, to be nullify the love? Love is not physical. Talk to me that you want to shecht us, that's one thing. Why are you telling me that you want to extinguish our love? A person can love God till the last breath.
Shimshon's question on the measures.
Yeah, right. And also, and if it wasn't for HaKadosh Baruch Hu who didn't allow him to do it and still continues not to allow, right? That can't handle it. Omnam behava in makom, there's no sevara to say that what's it called? Oh, that's why he was on. That is that there's no with love. There's no room to say that the goyim could try to be mevatel the love between us and God and extinguish by subjugating us. That doesn't make any sense. Physically, yes, and the only reason why they don't physically is because God protects us. The od kasher, the last part of the midrash is also hard. Is why you tell me the kingdoms? What kind of kingdom is there without the actual ummah, without the subjects? You're saying the subjects are able to do one thing, right? And then you're going separately and saying the kingdoms could do another. But what kind of king? What's a king without subjects? That you're separating them. To say that the people or the king, or to say them together. Why are you separating both?
I don't follow that one.
You have.
The second one is why the Midrash says Malchuyot. It should be Ummah. It's not why you're saying is a Malchut versus an Ummah. The difference is one is a kingdom, like the kingdom itself, and one is the nation. Why is the Midrash separating it out? It makes it
As
sound like
Mayim Lavim and now what?
Right.
It's like two separate things, but the umot are the same thing as the malchuyot.
right, but the Midrash.
So wait, which does which? Which attacks the love of the Jewish people?
Don't matter. They're both coming after you.
It
For
says-
this one, they're both coming after you.
Right.
The first part is saying levatel the love.
Right.
Right. That's the first one. That's the umot.
That's the people.
Right.
The malchuyot, right, is like melech Ashur. But what is melech Ashur without the subjects? And they're all doing the same thing. Levatel ta'ava. It's all the same thing. Why does he separate them? Why does he separate them? Okay. Now listen. V'yesh lomar. What is this love that we have between us and God? The love is talui in what it says in the Gemara in the beginning in Berachot Het Amud Aleph. Ohev Adonai Sha'arei Sion Mikol Mishkanot Yaakov. Mishkanot Yaakov. That where is God found after the Beit HaMikdash was destroyed? It's found in the place of Beit Midrashot and Batei Knesset that are learning halacha. He stays within 4 amot of people learning halacha. Ohev Hashem Sha'arim Hamsuyanim B'halacha. That are good, that are going. What does the Rabbi Meir say? What does the Rabbi Yehuda say? What do the Rishonim say? What does the Harim say? What's Tachlis? What do we do? What does Acham Avadiyah hold?
Right.
Okay, what does Pinei Halacha hold? What's the bottom line? This is the Ahava that it's talking about, right? Because look, the Ahava is Talui again. The way after the Beit HaMikdash was destroyed, okay, where does the Shekhinah rest? Where did the Shekhinah go? But take it. No, it stayed here. We know from Yirmiyah, the Midrash in Echa says that Yirmiyah, the Shekhinah asked Yirmiyah, where do you want it to go? You want to go with the people? You want me to stay here? So Yirmiyah says, better you go with the people, because you'll do more good for them than I will, and I'll stay in here with the leftovers. That's literally what they said. And that's what happened. Hashem went out to Bavel with us, and Yirmiyah stayed in Yerushalayim. So it says, so the Gemara Berachot is saying, where? So then now that we're dispersed, where does the Shekhinah reside? It resides where people are learning halacha. Okay? And it also says in Yakut Shimoni something great. Kol Yaakov ve'edai midei Esav. As long as the call of Yaakov, the voice of Yaakov is being heard in the Batei Knesset and the Batei Midrashot, the Yadayim of Esav cannot touch us. Kol Yaakov ve'edai midei Esav. As long as the call, the voice of us learning in the Batei Knesset, the Batei Midrashot, the hands of Esav cannot touch us. That's the Midrash Shimoni, it's famous. So what does this teach you? It teaches you that the ikar of the love is talui on our Torah learning. Sheikar ahavat teluya be'esek haTorah. V'hashta kamar, right now what does it say in the Midrash? Now that's what it means. That, remember we said if they all come together try to abolish, to nullify the love, what's it talking about? It's coming to nullify us learning Torah, which in turn will nullify our ahava with God. It means that he's going to go further away from us. Enam yechulim. They won't be able to. Lefi, why? Because if they're going to tell us that we can't learn b'feretzia, what are we going to do? We're going to learn b'sinah. And if they tell us that we can't learn Torah shebichtav, what are we going to do? We're going to learn Torah shebi'al peh. Right? And the umot, they're not going to know what's going on, or if we're just talking about stam devarim. We're going to make it work, one way or another.
That's all I give this to Yvonne. That's why they had the Nun Gimel Hashem. Because the Nun Gimel, that was the idea was it was Nes Gadol Hayasham or whatever. The idea was to remind us of the story. So this Yvonne, they thought we were just playing with regular.
Right.
And then the idea is that we would retell the story. Like in other words, even when they were oppressing us to not tell the story, to not keep the mitzvot, we had a way to do that.
We had a way to do it.
Unbelievable. Places like to remind you that when you spin the thing, who's really in control? Hashem's in control of what happens.
Right.
So just to remind you of that when you're spinning it, to remind you that.
Amazing. You know, that's what I said that to somebody this week. I don't remember that even the non-religious people in the Holocaust, when the Nazis, Yimach Shemam, tried to give us, non-kosher food on Yom Kippur to eat, they wouldn't take it, even though they would eat non-kosher, no problem. Why? Because it says no one decides who doesn't get when I don't get to eat kosher. Only I get to decide when I'm going to eat non-kosher, not him. Because if you're going to tell it when our back's against the wall, all of a sudden everybody becomes real religious, right? Like the Midrash says, we said it last week. The Midrash says that Hashem says that if they're not going to make the Shiva on our own, don't worry, because Hashem's going to beat it out of us. He'll make sure. Literally, that's what it says. That's a scary thing. It's also funny, but it's more scary.
Person eats non-kosher on Yom Kippur, does he get 2 lavim or 1?
Why are you going to Pilpulim over here? I don't know.
That's a pilpul. It's a shayla.
What?
No, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. Which one is more hamud? Your hayab mitah on Yom Kippur.
I didn't ask what he gets for the onions, right? I asked
It's
what
hayab on
the
both.
onions gonna be.
He's
I asked
hayab.
what lavin, like how many lavin he's over on, and why would you say 1?
Because Yom Kippur is more hamud. No, I'm not saying one.
Not because it's more chamor. Forget about the punishment for a second. Non-kosher food is ushered to him on a normal day. But on Yom Kippur, where all food is ushered to him, maybe non-kosher food, there's no lav. Because you wouldn't.
No, come on. Where would you think that? It's Kamash.
I'll bring
Kalva
you
Homed.
I'll bring
Go ahead.
you a raya from Nevela. You can eat the gid hanashav and Nevela.
When?
Huh?
You could eat the Gidan Hashem and
Sure,
Nevela.
there's no isser to eat the gid hanashav and Nevela. Why? Because gid hanasha is only an isser when it comes from a kosher animal.
But it's asur, no? The Hakamim.
No.
is also
Right now, I can go buy Gidan Hashem from a Nevela.
Yeah.
Sure about that?
Listen, I don't know what halacha might.
I'm telling you, you're not. Telling you not.
Also, why
But-
would you gid hanasha? It tastes like rope.
I have no idea. How do you know?
You gotta slow cook it.
Yeah, that's the one.
Slow cook. So, but
And it
really,
did turn into bilbil a little bit. You're right.
no. But to be, if you do something Yom Kippur, you can be on 2 Lavi. Of course you are. If you drive a car on Kippur or on Shabbat, Shabbat is one. No, that's not a good example. Eating is the only example. One of the only, because you're not right.
You eat.
Eating a nevela non-kosher food is asur to begin with, and on Yom Kippur is another one. But you get the more hamud punishment. They don't give you both.
I think for both it's kares, so you actually just get kares.
Eating.
No, it's eating is the problem. It's not eating non-kosher is not the problem on Yom Kippur. Eating itself is the problem.
But either way, the punishment for eating non-kosher food is kares, and the punishment for eating on Yom Kippur is also kares, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but
So you can't get kares either way. You can't get
Cut it twice. No, but
you can't get extra kares.
no, you can't get extra cut it.
Get kares, you don't.
Okay, so let's continue. So what are we learning right now? We're learning that the ahava, the love between us and God, is contingent, boys. Is contingent on our Torah that we give, that we focus on the Torah. Okay, that's what's the most important thing. Okay, and if we can't learn it in public, you're with me. We can't learn in public, we can learn in private. And they tell us we can't learn bichtav, we'll learn b'al peh. That's how we got the haftarah, by the way. When did we get the haftarah? Where'd that come from? Because they made a gezerah, you can't learn the 5 books of Moses. So on Shabbat, what do? We read the Navi that's associated or looks to the parasha. That's why every haftarah is similar to the parasha of the week. And what do we do? And so what do we do for that? So now that when the Gezal is mevatel, you're not going to get rid of the haftarah. So now we do both. Now we do both. The Gezal is you're not allowed to read the Hamishah B'Shet Torah. They gave a Gezerah, you're not allowed to read Hamishah B'Shet Torah. I don't know, ask them. They didn't want us to learn they didn't want us to learn the Torah.
I see.
That was not our Gezerah, their Gezerah. The Goyim said that. And what do we end up doing? So again, no problem. We'll learn Haftarah. That's what we did. We learned Navi. We learned Navi. Okay. The last Perek Pesachim, by the way, I recommend everybody to learn. The last 4 or 5 pages of Pesachim are delish. They're really awesome. 3 things that God loves, 3 things that God hates, 3 things that for a good marriage, 3 things for a bad marriage, 3 things that guy is alive, 3 things that guy is dead. All these different things. It's great. Great Gemara. Really awesome. Okay, so at the end, on Kof Yod Bet, what does it say? Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai learned 5 things from Rabbi Akiva. Now we know that Rabbi Akiva was Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai's teacher. Okay, after 24,000 students died, he took on 5 students, some say 7, right? And who were they? One of them was Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, Rashbi. And you know, just quickly, there's so much to say. There's so much to say. I can go off on 2 tangents now, different ones. The first one is that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai in Rabbi Akiva, no one knew why the 24,000 students died. Okay, as they were all dying one by one, or whatever it was, nobody knew why. Rabbi Akiva didn't know why. Rabbi Akiva never discussed it until the Yerushalmi, I think in Berachot, discusses it and says what? And says that the reason why, he goes, I know you know that I had a yeshiva before. And I know you know that it was a very big one with 24,000 students. And I also know you know that all of them died. So I want to tell you why. And he says, because that they didn't respect each other. And Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai took that very, very seriously. How do we know? Because if you open up the Zohar, what does it say? Haverim Yekarim. He always says, Haverim Yekarim, my dear friends. To always remind himself of the love that's needed among Jews. You understand? Remember, I told you I spoke to Rav Machlis. Remember Rav Machlis? You know Rav Machlis, right? In Yerushalayim. Should live and be well, and Hashem should give him a lot of money. I called him up one time and I said, you know Rav Machlis? He has 150 people by his house every Friday night.
What do you mean, every Shabbat?
Every Shabbat.
Every meal.
He doesn't own one piece of anything valuable in the house because everything was stolen. Stolen. Yeah.
150 strangers.
You know 150 people? Because I don't. To come over Friday night?
I was there once. He had people sleeping in his car. That's it, because they're just like me.
No way.
Yeah. People sleeping in his car. I remember. I was there for the summertime. Yeah, he just like, if people need a place to stay, he's like, okay, take my car.
It's insane.
Crazy.
People, and he spends so much time. So I had this question that I always wanted to ask him, specifically him. You ready? Sasha, you know this one. I told you this, remember? You know this one or no?
Remember.
I asked him, I go, Rabbi, how do you learn to like people you don't like? Admit, it's a serious question. It is a tough question, but it's a fair question. And I asked, so he goes, I go, and I continue the question. I say, it's not, to be friends or friendly or whatever, open the house to people that I know, all you guys, that's easy. Now you talk about some weirdos, it's a whole nother ballgame. To sit with them for 2 hours, to give them a little money and give them a little plate on the way to go, take it to go, very nice. To sit with them for 2 hours now? I don't know how. I want to know. I really want to know. He gave me 3 answers. Off the cuff, by the way. The first answer he gave me was, you don't know what this person dealt with. You have to remember that you don't know what this person dealt with, whatever trauma this guy has for the last 30 years. You don't know what people are walking around with. You don't know. Second thing he tells me is that guy's got a mother that loves him. Meaning, there's love for this person in the world. Don't breathe so heavy. You got an aunt that loves you.
I wasn't even thinking about my own mother. But
You understand? There's some love. There is love for this person in the world, meaning that he has value. The third one was interesting. The third, Pirkei Avot, it says, what's the word? B'seved panim yafot. You should accept haveh mekabel lechol adam b'seved panim yafot. And I said, and he says, it says in Perek Shelishi the same thing, but he uses the word simha. You should have simha when you see people. So why does it say it 3 times? Twice. One in Perek Rishon, one in Perek Shelishi. Be nice to people, very nice. So he says sometimes you have to mekabel panim yafot, and you're not really happy on the inside, but you need to keep with the flow, with the idea I want to get there, and I could say I've done it once or twice. Don't worry, nobody's here. Okay, legit.
Keep it exterior.
Keep it exterior with the intention of making it interior. Making it interior.
Right.
You know, because sometimes it's not so easy, it says.
Right.
Fake it till you make it. That's the first thing. The second thing the second tangent I wanted to say is that Rabbi Akiva was in, so I spoke in Jerusalem. Right, Jonah Brook came with me. I was spoken in Jerusalem to like a very great place, by the way. It's like a place for lone soldiers and Shirut Leomi people that are all in Israel, and they all hang out together. So they asked me to come speak. So I spoke, and I told them, there's a reason why I went, Rabbi Akiva, Moshe Rabbeinu wants to see Rabbi Akiva. Because he sees, when Moshe went up to Marom to accept the Torah, he sees Hashem making all the tagin on top of the letters. And he tells them, he goes, Hashem, it's enough of a beauty that you're giving to Bnei Israel now. You don't have to add even more. It's okay. And he says, no. There's one guy that's going to be born that's going to be Doresh Halachot based on the crowns of every letter. It's Gemanah Menachot. And he says, who's this guy? He goes, Akiva. This guy's name's Akiva. He goes, show him to me. So Hashem tells Moshe, turn around, like a fairy tale. Turns around, he finds himself sitting in the Beit Midrash of Rabbi Akiva. And where is Moshe Rabbeinu sitting? In the 8th row. Now, in the old days, the smarter you were, the closer you were, not the further you were. Like today, they want the kids that don't get it. I sat in the front most of the time. Okay, but Moshe was sitting on the 8th row, and the Gemara says, Moshe said, I didn't understand a word, and no idea what they were talking about. And he felt very depressed. Until one Talmid raised his hand and says, Rebbe, how do we know this? He goes, Halakha Moshe Misinai. So when he heard this, Moshe felt better. Oh, I felt much better. So now Moshe tells Hashem, he tells him, okay, I understand. He goes, I see the Torah, now show me the Sakkal. Show me the end. He says, okay, turn around. And what does he see? Excuse me. So before that he says, he tells Hashem, give Rabbi Akiva the Torah. He's the one that should take the Torah. So the Gemara says, Hashem tells him, shtok, quiet. I have my ways. It's not for you. Now he goes, he says, all right, you showed me the Torah, now show me the Sakkal. He says, okay, turn around. He turns around and he sees Rabbi Akiva getting flayed. Seriously, that's how he died. Okay? That's how he got, that's it. So Moshe Rabbeinu starts screaming, Zeh Torah v'zeh sechara. You're sketching, this is what you get? It's retarded, it's terrible. And what does he say? Shtok, I have my ways. It's not your business. When Rabbi Akiva was in the jail before he got filleted, that's what happened. Before he got tortured and murdered, right? He was in jail, right? And now there was a kid that comes to him and tells him, "I got you bread." So this little kid, he tells him, that wasn't a little kid, it was a kid. And he tells him, this wasn't at the time. Was it at the time? Hold on. Oh no, this is a Gemanah Berachot. This is the one I'm about to tell you, is the Gemanah Berachot. That there was a kid that Rabbi Akiva was taken into captive, was taken prisoner. Okay? We're going to say about at the end now in a minute. But he was taken captive into whatever, and he tells him, and now this kid tells him, I brought you bread to eat, and I brought you water. He brought you water to drink. He brought him water to drink. And he says, I don't want to, he goes, so he takes the water and he washes his hand because he didn't do Netilat Yadayim yet. And he says, I gave you water to drink. So he goes, so Rabbi Akiva said, I need to be clean, right? Kiddushim to you, it's more important to be clean than to drink the water. So he says, well, if you don't drink, I'm going to tell the authorities. So it's a joke. So the Rabbi Akiva says, so what are you going to do? Are you going to arrest me? I'm already here. So the Gemara ends by saying, and who is this kid? Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Come on, it's amazing. You know the Gemara? It's great. Okay, so now Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai learned 5 things from Rabbi Akiva before Rabbi Akiva died. No, before he died. In jail. No, now. I said now. I jumped. Yes. Hamisha devarim Rabbi Akiva keshaya habush bebet asurim. He was in jail. No, but this was when he was going to die. He learned the Gemara. Oh, it doesn't say what he learned. Yeah, this. By the way, that's the Gemara. That's Pesachim. He's taking out. If you look at Pesachim, it'll tell you that this is when he was, because what was he doing? Right? Rabbi Akiva atzmo keshaya habush bebet asurim haya yotzei lehareg, when he was taken out to get killed. He was still working on the leap years to establish the following leap years, so everybody would know what it is. Yeah, Iber Shalosh Shanim, Ve'ayin Sham. So what does that mean? That even even if they're going to try to take us down, it's not going to work, because even with Allah's breath, we're going to learn. How many people remember? You know that story of the guy going to the Lubavitcher Rebbe and said, "Rebbe, this religion is fake. It's all about money." So the Rebbe's like, why? And he tells them, because I was a survivor in the Holocaust, and in the Holocaust there was a guy that had tefillin shel yad, and he charged everybody a piece of bread in order to go down, just to say, right, lehaniach tefillin, and for his piece of bread. You guys are all fake. He goes, yes, you're right, that's horrible. But he goes, I have a question. He goes, yeah. He goes, how many people gave up the bread? How many people were willing to give up the bread to put on tefillin? He goes, oh, a lot. He goes, Torah is not fake. There's mesirut nefesh. And that's exactly what the Midrash is saying. That even if they're going to try to take us, it ain't going to work. Because no matter what, we're going to prevail. One way or another. God will beat it out of us if he has to, but he's going to get it out of us. And we're all going to come back to the Torah. Rabbi Akiva, even when he was going out to die, he was already working on, and by the way, when he had his last breath, what was his last word? Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. And his Talmidim said, well, Rebbe, it's not the time for this. He goes, my whole life I'm waiting for this. My whole life I'm waiting to die on Kiddush Hashem. You can tell me no? This is it. Right? And by the way, and how did he get there in the first place? Because the Gezerah, they can't teach Torah in public. And what did he do? He taught Torah in public. Right? That's the end of Berachot. That's the last page of Berachot. כמו שהוכח על זה רבי יוסף בן קיסמא לרבי חנינא בטרדיון בפרק עבודה זרה. Right? Okay, I'm going to tell you the end of the Derashan, and I'm going to tell you a story about Rabbi Yosef Kisma and Rabbi Hanina בטרדיון. ואם תאמר שלא לאחר שיגלו ישראל בין האומות, ואם תאמר הלא after we were removed or exiled into the umot, יהיה להם טירוף דעת ובלבולים, וכל ימיהם מכאובים, ולא יוכלו עוד לעמוד. And so now, if you might think that once we're taken into captivity, we won't be able to learn because we're all tiruf da'at, because we're all, imagine moving, but I remember when I moved to Israel. When we moved here, it was a whole situation. It's hard. You don't wake up on time, you didn't miss class, you got to get everybody ready, the kids, school, all different things you got to worry about. So he's saying that now imagine going on the other side, right? Forcibly. My father escaped Egypt. Didn't leave normally. My grandfather, okay, Allah Shalom, they had a lot of money in Egypt. They had a button factory. Wow. He was very well connected. Buttons. Good buttons. The best. That's what we say. Happy birthday. So what's the inyan? The inyan is that when my father came with the shirt on his back. Imagine, left everything. In all these places, a lot of the immigrants in any country that came to another country, like I have a friend, Matt. His name is Matt. He's from Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan? Something? I don't know. One of those. And he says that he told me, I remember I was young, he said, I remember there wasn't a corner in the house that didn't have money. We had money in every corner of the house. That's how much money they had. And we sold our house for a car. So I don't understand why people are spending millions and millions of dollars on houses in Galut. This is crazy. You're a smart kid. This kid has to move up. That kid's good.
He's in the 8th row.
No, put him up to the 7th row. That's good.
Ask them why.
That's why it's so true.
Who's driving the market?
Who drives the market? So what's the difference? He's saying that lo yichlul al zereman unharot lo yishtafua, that the naharot won't be able to wash us away. Why? These are the malchiyot. These are the kingdoms. Why? Like it says in Eruvin, that even if they're going to grab us, right? Even if they're going to grab us and they're going to spread us around and do whatever, lechad dodi netzeh hasadeh. Let's go out to the field and let's go see the Talmidei Chachamim that are still learning inside a Dohak, inside a Galut. They're still going to learn. I know a guy, actually my Havruta, Rabbi Yeloz, knows a guy. I wrote the guy's name down, Ashkenaz guy. Okay? He's a mechanic. He would pray nitz every day, learn 3 hours, then go to work, come back to shul, learn another 3-4 hours. His wife would bring him his dinner in shul.
Wow.
Okay, and he wrote books, and the guy was a mechanic. It's like all of them. Hafetz Haim at a grocery store. Okay, Rashi was
Huh?
huh?
You go to the shuk every day of the week. The guy see these guys like who are wake up at night, learning all day. They go to work and they're reading Zohar while they're waiting for the guy.
Hokli Israel. To say what? So they say that even if that, it's not going to be enough. If all the goyim try to come and oppress us, where we are, it ain't going to happen. If the malchuyot are going to try to oppress us by scattering us, it's still not going to work. And why? How do we know? Because like what says in Eruvin, Lecha dudin etzeh hasadeh. Go to the field and go see what's going on. Bo ve'aracha. I will come with me and I'll show you the Talmidei Chachamim that are learning Torah mitoch hadoch v'sar galut, that are learning through the dohak and the pain of the galut, and they're still learning at night. Okay, but there was a story of I don't remember the rabbi and I don't remember the war. I don't remember much detail, but I remember that there was a rabbi that was lodging at one hotel or motel, and he is learning Torah in the next room. He goes to the next room, he knocks on the door, and who answers the door? A soldier. And he sees that he's learning Gemara, whatever he's learning. He goes, wow, now I understand why Mashiach is not coming, he says. Why? Because once Mashiach comes, we're never going to be able to reap the benefits of such zechuyot, of Torah, of coming and learning. You think it's easy? I know it's not easy coming at 8:30 to learn till 10:30 on a Thursday night at the end of the week. But you have no idea the zechuyot that you guys are getting. You have no idea. No idea. Hey, come on in. Oh my gosh. He came in with books. That's scary stuff. Oh my gosh, you guys look exactly alike.
They're not twins, by the way.
They're not twins? All right, let's do one more. Let's find one more. Let's find the short one. Only because Gempel's here. Gimel. Oh, let's do Gimel. Boys, let's go to Gimel. Gimel's awesome. Give him some books. What? What?
Gimel for Gimpel.
Pass this down. You got? But there's art scroll also. Art scroll's good. Wow, this is an honor. Where's the cholent? Oh, check on the cholent. Is it still? What?
He's scared.
Take the gloves. Always hold it from the bottom.
What happened?
It's okay, man. It's cool. It happens to all of us. When I did a siyum masechet. Listen. Oh, he's dead. Yeah. So we all would have been. This place would have been filled with blood. All right. No problem. I won't say nothing. I said only if she listened. If she listened, then we're both in trouble. I'm just saying. So look. So when I had, I'll tell you quick. When I had I did a siyum. Okay, I did a siyum, and I bought a big mazah platter. Okay, $400 worth of mazah, and they Ubered it. They send it in. I pick it up, and it's giant. I picked it up from the top to put my hand under it to hold it. You're supposed to hold it from the bottom. The whole thing falls out in the street. Okay, and I start screaming in the street. No! Literally out loud in the street. No! I'm like, all right, fine. But I go inside. I'm like, what am I supposed to do now? This is crazy. There was 50 people in the house 2 months ago. 50 people in the house. So what do? I call them up and I say, listen, you really need to package it right, this and that. Okay, yes, no, maybe so. They says, well, we're going to make a new batch. We'll send you a new one. Beauty. Now what happens? Now I'm waiting for my father to come, so I want to start the siyum, but I don't want to do it until he comes. Now there's a couple of rabbis that came, including my rabbi, a couple of big guys there, but I won't start without my father. I won't stop it my father. Now, all the food we ordered also other foods that all came, and they wiped it all out. That's fine. Now, if I would have put out the same type of food, no one's going to go for it because they already had schnitzel sandwiches and whatever. This now, it comes, right, piping hot, mazah, piping hot, with all the sauces and the tahini, and everybody devoured it. And it gave me the extra time to wait for my father to come in, because otherwise they were all going to wait. So it gave him something to do. So you see how Hashem works. $416. Okay.
Wow.
This week's parasha starts. We're talking about Shabbat. It says, "Lo teba'aru esh b'chol mashvotechem." Gipel, you come here, you start talking to Zev. So I don't care if you're new friends. It don't matter. Very nice. Nice to see. So go to get both of you. I got to ask him what he says on Besamim first, and then I'll tell you which one I like better. All right, so go to Gimel. Lo teba'aru esh b'chol mashvotechem. Rambam is posek in Hot Shabbat. He says the guy gets stuck in a desert, and he does not know when is Shabbat. Okay, he doesn't know when Shabbat is. Right? What does he do? Now let's say you're in the desert and you don't know which day Shabbat is. You count 6 days, right? And mekadesh shevi'i. You count 6 days, and because you have a halacha shamor v'zachor. Shamor v'zachor. You have an obligation to be shomer and zachor Shabbat. How do you zachor? How do you remember it? Mekadesh the day. That's why mekadesh the day. That's why it's very important that at night is deoraita. That's why if you have people coming to your house, some of them will say kiddush on their own. Okay, which by me, I offer all my guests to come to me Friday night. Okay, do you want to say on kiddush? No problem. And okay, if not, I have them in mind. You have to be in mind and all that stuff. But Rambam says, let's say you're now stuck in a desert and you don't know what day it is, which by the way is possible. How do you know it's possible? Because sometimes even with all the technology we have today, I don't know what day it is. So don't tell me in the desert that you don't know, that it's possible that you don't know what day. So let's say you find yourself in the desert and admit you don't know what day it is. If you don't know what day it is, you don't know when Shabbat is. If you don't know when Shabbat is, what do? So he says you count 6 days from today. You count 6 days from today, and on the seventh day, you mekadesh the Shabbat with wine. Okay? Now, and every day that you're in the desert, right? Even the day that you're mekadesh and you did Havdalah, which is also a deoraita. Havdalah, by the way, you know the source of Havdalah? Amazing. I looked up, where does Havdalah come from? It's a safek deoraita. And we hold it's deoraita. Why? Because just like you have to announce that Shabbat is here, you also have to announce that Shabbat is leaving. It's an amazing thing. It's a Gemara. I never learned it in my life till like a month ago. So cool. Really, really cool. So he says that you make including the day that you're going to do Kiddush and Havdalah, melacha, only what you need for that day. So that means if I don't...
You would think that you shouldn't be able to.
Well, if you're going to be Mekadesh and make your own Shabbat,
you would think that
that's right. Right. But we're saying that even on this day and all 7 days that you're stuck in the desert, since you don't know what day it is, which means you don't know when Shabbat is, you now have to, assume that today might be Shabbat. If today might be Shabbat, I might not be. But since it's Safek, I don't know if it is or if it's not. What do? You're allowed to do minimal avodah, just what you need for that day. Okay? Mutar lo lasot kedei parnasato bilvad. Kedei shelo yamut. Because God don't want you to die. V'zehu lo teva'aru esh bechol moshevotechem b'yom HaShabbat. What does that mean, bechol moshevotechem? The moshevotechem that you know. You know where you are. What does a moshav mean? Moshav means where you are. It's a moshav. There's people, there's a community, there's houses, plumbing, hopefully. כלומר, בכל מושבותיכם, אי אתה מבעיר ביום השבת, דהיינו כשאתה מבעיר ביישוב. אבל אם תהיה במדבר, if you're going to be in the desert, אז תצטרך להבעיר עד בשבת כדי פרנסתך, in order to sustain yourself. Okay, so he's giving you a hidush. What does it mean, בכל מושבותיכם? It's a great question. But what does the word בכל מושבותיכם mean, Mr. Gimpel? None of you looked up, by the way.
No, he's reading it very differently, but... Yeah.
Tell me.
He's reading it very differently because the Rambam is saying, Kedei shelo yamut.
He's bringing you a halacha from the Rambam.
So you don't die in the midbar, you do melacha. He's taking it differently, saying, no, you could do melacha when you're outside of your yeshuv. When you're in the midbar.
No, separate. No, not any. No, that's not true. That's not true. No, first of all, you have to realize that Rambam's halacha, kedei shelo yamut. You're allowed to look at the words. Rambam's words are mutar lo lasot kedei parnasato bilvad. That's very important. Kedei shelo yamut, in order for him not to die. That's halacha l'maaseh. Now, the question is why does it say don't make a fire bechol moshevotechem, in all your moshav, in all your dwelling places? That means that if it's not in my dwelling places, maybe I'm allowed to make a fire. So the chidush is that's the chidush. That's what he's bringing.
It's not my dwelling place. It's not a dwelling place at all.
Yeah, it's not a dwelling place.
I mean, like you would think that maybe a moshav is like a hotel room. Like if I'm in a hotel, so I should be able to do it. He's like, no. Anywhere there is a moshav, meaning there's a place that people live, you can't do it. In a place where people don't live normally, in the desert, there you can do it.
He's explaining how, not to say that the Rambam got to his halacha from this pasuk, but he's saying you could learn out the halacha of the Rambam from this pasuk.
Why can't you say that he got it from the pasuk? Maybe he did. Why not?
Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't.
I'm saying it's not shayach. It's fine if he did. Why
The Rambam
not?
himself could go through the Mishnah Torah and he wouldn't be able to find his own sources. There's stories like that. He went through. He's trying to find.
Don't live. Rabbi Yehuda. By the way, Rabbi Yehuda and I see.
In life that he hadn't added a Makoros. He's like, oh, and it turns out that what I actually meant was that you have to go and see a Tosefta and Gittin. If I can't find the Makoros for my own sefer, I should probably have written them in. So they say from the stories. Whatever. So
Rabbi Yehuda and I see who wrote all the Mishnayot learned everything 24 different ways, and it says that some things he forgot 12 of the ways, half the ways he forgot. Till someone else came and reminded him the other 12 ways. It's normal to forget what you. It's normal. You're not gonna. That's why vishinantam lebanecha is so important. The word vishinantam, right, is to repeat. It's not just to learn. Repeat, right? Who's smart? Sefer Hasidim says, who's smart? The guy that says, I'm going to learn one halacha a day, and I'm going to repeat that halacha, and I'm going to know it cold. There's another story of Rabbi Yochanan in the Gemara where he says where he was dozing off. In Arabic, it's called namming. You nam. So it's sleeping. The guy was dozing off, and the two rabbis were talking, and one of the rabbis asked, why in Bavel do the rabbi, he asked 3 questions. Why do the rabbis in Bavel dress so nice, and the rabbis in Israel dress like, shluchi, like whatever. So he answered, because the rabbis in Bavel don't have real Torah, and the rabbis in Eretz have real Torah, so they need to get respect out of the clothes. Rabbi Yochanan was sleeping, he woke up, he goes, if you don't know the reason, don't talk. And he says, why? He says, unless you know the halakha as clearly as you know that a person is not allowed to be alone with their sister, sleep with their sister, don't say it. Just like it's asur to be with a person's sister, obviously, you know that sleeping up, sleeping sideways, you know that halakha. If you don't know the halakha that you're being asked about as good as that, don't talk. And he says the reason why that they're like that in Bavel they dress more proper is because Bata Lishma. Mata means city. In their own city, their name is good enough. You say Mordechai Holtz, okay, Naved Daniel, people know who you're talking about. But if you go to Brooklyn and say Mordechai Holtz, they're not going to know. So Mordechai's got to make a name for himself, so he's got to look a little better. You understand? That's the real answer that Yochanan says. So I don't know how we got here. Shimon, you got me on a tangent, and I don't remember how we got here.
How the Rambam Dorish, how where he quote.
Oh, so because he forgets. A big deal. Everybody forgets. Everybody forgets.
Case in point. Well done, sir.
Yes, Mr. Kimpel.
Your point is saying that the Rambam could derive this halacha.
There's nothing wrong with saying that.
Of course, it doesn't even make sense out of the psukim. He's saying b'chol moshvotechem, in your moshav, that is where you have the real Shabbat. Outside the moshav, the pasuk says that's where you're going to be lo tevaru.
Lo tevaru.
In the moshvotechem, so the rules aren't as necessarily applicable. So that's why you can be mutar l'asot bo on outside because it's not part of the pasuk. Outside is already not part of the pasuk anymore.
Well, specifically the midbar.
Yeah, but it's because midbar is not moshvotechem.
Right, exactly right. Bechol mishvodechem. Right. When you know where your moshav is, when you know what.
Right from the pasuk.
Yeah. By the way, let Yechiel know that I missed him. Just let him know. V'shan lazera maza katuv. Right. Be'omro. What does it say? Sheshet yamim ta'avod ve'asita kol melachtecha. Yeah, give it out. We got to give it out to everybody. Don't ask questions. By the way, if you ask someone, are you hungry? They're going to say no. I'll give you a lesson and a hachnasat orchim. When somebody comes to your house, don't ask. You put the food in front. That's how it was taught to me when I was a kid. Why? Because when you put the food in front, they're going to pick. And that's good. That's the right way. If you ask them, no one's going to say yes ever. 9 out of 10, unless they're truly hungry. Or they like really need to eat. Just stop. Especially our newcomers, our guests. That chillin' better be hot. You're a vegetarian? Do you go to Jerry Hyman, by the way? Are you the one that go to Jerry to work out?
No, that's my younger
Younger brother. I have a qualm with him. I have a bone to pick with him. Yeah.
My younger brother with the
Jeremy.
Oh, okay.
He put a picture. He has a picture.
He's not alone.
Take a number. No, he bought Jerry a picture. He put it up in the gym. What's the picture? Of a guy, like a big jahash in Arabic, a big fat guy, who's chiseling himself to be like a ripped guy. So he, like the first half is ripped, the second half is a big fat thing. And I'm working out. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that when I'm working out. So I told Jerry, I go, who bought you this? Why do you have this? It's nasty. What is this? So Jeremy Campbell. Okay, so now let's continue. You could see that this is also a hint of the pasuk. Sheshet yamim ta'avod ve'asita kol melachtecha. Ubiyom hashvi'i kol zeman shebasheshet yamim tuchal la'asot kol melachtecha. The 6 days that you're actually allowed to do all your melacha, because when you're in a midbar, you're not allowed to do all your melacha any day, only enough to survive. So sheshet yamim ta'avod, work, ve'asita kol melachtecha, do all your melacha. Ubiyom hashvi'i is for Hashem. כל זמן שבששת ימים תוכל לעשות מלאכתך, דהיינו כשאתה יודע, when you know when Shabbat is. שאז בחול, during the week, תוכל לעשות, you could do everything you want, because you know when Yom HaShabbat is coming, you know when the 7th day is coming. And Yom HaShabbat, Shabbat, לא תעשה כל מלאכה. You don't do nothing on Shabbat, because why? You know which days are good. It's unbelievable. Aval, however, when you're stuck in the midbar, any days of safek. You're not allowed to do any day. You need bare minimum.
It's safek hol and also safek Shabbos.
Yes, right. It's safek all around. Your whole life's a mess. Okay?
Just for a week. No.
No, I don't know how long you're there for. It depends how long you're there for. אבל כשאתה במדבר ולא תוכל לעשות בששת מכל מלאכתך, רק כדי פרנסתך, when you're only allowed to do what you're allowed to do, אף ביום השבת, אף ביום השביעי, לא תוכל לשמור, you can't fulfill the pasuk, לא תעשה כל מלאכה. Because you don't have that option, because you didn't have the first part of the thing either. Yeah, just give it. Please just give it.
So Charles, mashma in this though, let's say that you have someone who survives a shipwreck.
All right, don't give him.
Someone who survives a shipwreck, he lands on an island, he's alone on the island, he doesn't know what day it is.
That's the halakha.
But he's there for a year, he's there for 2 years, he's eating coconuts for 4 or 5 years. What? He has to do the bare minimum malacha?
Why not? First of all, I don't think he's establishing a society by himself anyway, so I don't think you have to worry too much. He's not doing that much anyway.
Only that one day you have to be limiting your malach.
No, Rambam, every one of the 7 days, because you don't know if it's a safek, if that particular day is Shabbat. Might be Shabbat, you don't know. All 7 days, you're allowed to work on that day that you're establishing Shabbat, but all the other 6 days also.
Just in order for your parnassus.
You make Kadesh and Havdalah on one specific day. But all the entire week now, you can only do what the survive, because you might have a safek, maybe that day. Yes, including that day. But that's crazy. Okay, but so he's saying that there's a hint to this where it says Sheshet Yamin Ta'avod Ve'asita Kol Melachtecha, that 6 days you work and do all the melacha that you can, and the 7th day you rest. Which means what? Only in a case where you can work all the other 6 days. And when could you do that? When you know whether today's Monday, today's Thursday, you know what's going on, you know what's happening. Huh?
Who's working tomorrow?
What does that mean? You know you can work. Look, you open up your phone, that's melacha.
Okay.
You're going to shul in the car, it's melacha. 39 melacha. Why does the Mishnah say 40 minus 1? Because it says melacha 40 times in the Torah. Okay, when it talks to the melacha, the melachat mishkan, it brings up 40 times, and Rabbi Yehuda holds that there's 40 melachot. Okay, and so the Mishnah comes to say it's 40 minus 1. We don't do 40 like Rabbi Yehuda. It's 39, not 40. Okay, when you're in the desert, and you can't do the other 6 days whatever you want, only enough to survive. Af az ab b'yom hashvi lo tuchal lishmor. You can't be shomer lo ta'aseh kol melacha. Mipnei she'ab be'oto yom, even on that day, you still get to do melacha, or you have to do melacha on the seventh day, right? It says b'yom hashvi. What does it say? What's the pasuk? Lo ta'aseh kol melacha. Don't do any work. That doesn't apply when you're in the desert, when you don't know what day it is, because you have to survive. So that means you're allowed to do it. So by the way, we're going to end with this, and it's a bomb. This is awesome. There's a pasuk in Yehezkel that says, Kadashai bazit ve'ed shabetotai hilalt, which means Kadashai, my Bet HaMikdash, you made bizayon to it, and my Shabbat, you mehalel my Shabbat. Okay? It says in Yevamot, the beginning of Yevamot, Vav Amud Aleph, you might think that the Bet HaMikdash was dochesh Shabbat. יכול יהיה בניין בית המקדש דוחה את השבת. תלמוד לומר, את שבתותיי תשמורו מקדשי תיראו. The Shabbat comes first, and then comes the Beit HaMikdash. My Shabbat you keep, and then my Mikdash you fear. If it would have said Mikdash first, you might assume that you could be Mechalel Shabbat for the binyan of Beit HaMikdash. Talmud Lomad, you cannot. Okay? And that is what the Pasuk in Yehezkel says, Kadashai Bazit, that you desecrated my Beit HaMikdash. Tells you what? That you didn't find it hashuv in your eyes. Lefi she'en dochin et Shabbat, because you even v'ahar kach af et Shabbatotay. Okay. Lefi she'en I'm sorry. The pasuk in Yehezkel says kadashai bazit. It tells you what? She'enam hashuvim. You didn't look at the Beit HaMikdash as hashuv in your eyes. Lefi, why? Because she'en dochin et Shabbat. Because you said, if you're not docheh the Shabbat, because you're not docheh Shabbat for the Beit HaMikdash, the Beit HaMikdash might I guess isn't that great after all. Because no, you can't be halal Shabbat for the Beit HaMikdash. So fine, I might have a leeway. But at the end, what does the pasuk say? You did that also. You messed that up also. If you want to say that you didn't respect the Beit HaMikdash because you want to say, no, we don't mess with the Beit HaMikdash on Shabbat because it's Shabbat. We don't touch Shabbat. We don't mess with Shabbat. But you screwed that up too. You messed that up also. That's what he's saying. לפי שאין דוחין את השבת, ואחר כך אף את שבתותה חילת. You also בחלל שבת. הם תרתס דסתרן ההדדי. Hashem tells Bnei Israel, you're being soter yourself. You're saying that you can't upkeep the Beit HaMikdash. You can't respect the Beit HaMikdash. It's not that great because Shabbat obviously overrides it. So fine. But not only that, but you also messed up. You didn't even keep Shabbat itself. So to show you, so what are we learning from it? We're seeing a hint over here. We're seeing a hint based on Kol Mashvotechem. Tells you what? That you have to make sure you keep the Shabbat B'Chol Mashvotechem and where you are. Where you are, that it's a Moshav. It's a real place, like we learned from the Rambam. That a place that you have all 6 days where you don't know which day Shabbat is, you got it, that's what's it called, right? You have every day you do just enough. And on Yom HaShavi, you do Yom HaShavi, you make Kadesh. And you do Havdalah, but also you do just enough. And we learn it from the pasuk Lo Tabarush B'Chol Mashvotechem. It's extra words, and we bring a remez Sheshet Yamin Ta'avod Ve'asid Kol Melachtecha to tell you what this pasuk is only when you can do all your melacha on all the other 6 days. And if you're in a midbar, and you don't know what day it is, you can't do that. So I give everybody a beracha that you should never be caught not knowing what day it is. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen v'amen. Rabbi Chaim Kanievski omer, L'asah HaKadosh Baruch Hu l'zakot et Yisrael leficha yibarav Torah b'zo shenemar, Adonai hafez leman sidko yagdir Torah ve'adir.